Alright. What's going on, guys? I haven't done like a deck profile slash like tips on the deck I'm playing in a while. Like the last one was Scraps when I introduced the that Gotham's loop, and I actually got like a decent amount of views for me for someone who doesn't really post videos. Um, but so I didn't play for the last like 6 or 7 months. I didn't like the game at all, like how it was playing. And I wasn't even planning on playing until I read into yosenju's, and because I really didn't want to learn too much of like the new effects of like Necros, and I I didn't like play really against Cleese and barely against BA. Like I understood the concept of all the decks, but I didn't really care to learn the effects of each one, and like I would always mix up like what each BA did, other than Scarm. That was like obviously like the most obvious one because I always search tour guide. But I'm all caught up with all that now. So I picked up Yusenju just because you don't obviously have to learn anything new. It's a basic like level 4 stun deck essentially that can go into exceeds if it needs to. Um, I mean, but the deck it has its OTK potentials too, which is awesome. So it fit my playstyle fairly well. The only other deck that I've been playing over those 6 months, like I would, if an event came up and I had nothing to do that weekend, I would just like ask someone if I could borrow their deck. So I played Shadal's a few times, and I played Satellar Knights at YCS Austin and lost in like round 8 is when I got knocked out there. But like I never tested, learned anything. It was just like give me a deck and I'll try and do something. So I've actually been testing, going to YCS Chicago in a week now. I leave on Thursday, and I'll be there till next Monday. Um, but yeah, so the card guys didn't want to give me a deck profile. I'll call Spoofy out on that. They didn't want to give me a deck profile at the regionals. I ended up, I was, there was 333 people at the Kissimmee, Florida regional, and I was 7-1 going into the ninth round, and the only thing I didn't want to play against was Cleese, obviously because it's the deck's worst matchup past format. Doesn't really matter too much now. Skill Drain was such a brutal card. But I didn't even lose to Skill Drain. I got 2-0'd by the guy, even though I opened like extremely good both games. I opened Emptiness in game 1. I opened like Mirror Force, Fairy Wind game 2 with a bunch of monsters both times, so I had like OTK potentials. But he opened with Storm games 1 and 2, and he OTK'd me in game 2. It was like the nuttiest hand ever. So yeah, so I went 7-2 and got 12th at the regional. I know I'm known for bubbling like so many events, regionals, YCSs. So I guess I'll do a quick profile of my updated build. I'll say if just do a quick rundown, I guess, of the regional build as I'm going through to say what I changed. Obviously, emptiness was pretty much the only thing that got hit in the deck. Um, but since skill drain got hit, I'm no longer playing MST. So I'll get right into the profile, and then I'm gonna explain like what cards I'm gonna try and fit in, and because I'm still testing it for this following week. Um, and I'm also going to explain what cards I hate and why I think people shouldn't play them in this deck particularly. So yeah, so got the obvious, the 3 1s, uh, 3 2s, and 3 3s. It's pretty standard. Uh, I might try and cut it down to 2 2s though, just because he he's all right if you open him with the 3, but if you open him with like anything else, he's really like not that great. Uh, he's just an 1800 beater essentially. Um, 2 Sujik, he's your other than the counter trap, he's your best guy for the mirror match. Um, and you never want to open really multiples of him since you can't summon another one afterwards. 1L for the simple fact of one, he'll protect you from torrential, mirror force, and makes your counter trap live like at any point. So he's worth to play one of. I tried two, but it was cloggy. I'd open two and like a Sujik and another guy, and it was like so bad. Then my favorite card is three card cards. I've always wanted to kind of treat it like plus one Fire Fist. At ARG Fort Lauderdale, I played two card and one bear, and bear was great. It was just those times where he wasn't needed, or like I would have Macrocosmos up and I would draw bear and he'd be dead. Um, card was amazing though during the regional the other weekend. Um, because like none of the decks right now can really OTK unless they open super nutty. I think the most consistent of the decks that can OTK is yosenju, just for the fact it only needs four monsters. Um, and to get four monsters is like really simple. Um, so that's it for the monsters right now. Um, then spells are pretty simple. Three tanky, three duality. Obviously, a lot of people don't play Dark Hole, or they only play one of, but I play two. I like the mass destruction. I want to put pressure on my opponent as fast as possible. So clears board, even if there's just one monster out there. Like if it's a unicorn, I'm gonna Dark Hole it if I have like multiple Yosenjus. And I'll force them to Valk. Because if I don't, and I just like, I'm only gonna deal them like a little over 2,000 damage. They're rarely gonna Valk. So if I can force an early Valk, if I don't have the counter trap for it, it's a win-win for me. Um, uh, then the Raigeki, obviously. Uh, and I'm testing Silvery Calcos. I haven't gotten enough testing with it to really have an opinion on it. Like, it basically makes it so you don't need Cowboy if you're trying to go for an OTK. Other than that, it just makes your guys bigger. So this could also come out at like a comma two, and it would give me room for two other cards that I kind of want to test right now. So that's it for the spells. Traps, three Mirror Force. I don't know why people aren't playing three. If you're only playing two, then I don't know why. Three Fiendish Chain, obviously, stops attacks and negates Trish, which is the biggest thing. It's probably the only thing I'll usually Fiendish Chain that I can think of. That's like most important to Fiendish Chain. Obviously, Mirror Match Fiendish Chain is really good. It's a Teller matchup, it's alright. BA matchup, it's really not good. Uh, yeah, it doesn't really do too much. I mean, it'll save you for a turn maybe, but three of the counter traps. I was only playing two during the regional, so obviously I had two emptiness in, or three emptiness in for the regional. But these were the same at the regional, three of each. I was able to beat Ritual Beast at the regional because I drew like three Mirror Force against him and just kept Mirror Forcing him every time he attacked. And he was like running low on cards. Then what I really like right now is three Reckless Greed. There's sometimes where I feel the deck needs like that one extra card to either get the OTK or just to build up your back row a little better. And since your deck has three tanky, three duality, and comma three who can constantly keep searching, you're really not losing out on not drawing because you're still always going to be searching for the most part, unless you like are forced to activate this Reckless Greed at like a really bad time and you don't have any way of continuing to thin through your deck. But usually you need to be smart about it and just wait for when you have a comma three play. And then the obvious three, one emptiness, torrential, and the new broken one of I don't know why, but it's stupid. Um, so that's the main deck. Extra deck's really not too important. It's just standard rank four. Two Cowboy. I play two Tiger King just because I go into Tiger King a lot. Um, I might cut it down to one though. Everything else is pretty standard. Right now, my side deck, I haven't really looked at it too much. I mean, I've tweaked it a little since regionals. I played the full house at regionals and the two overwork because I figured there'd be a decent amount of Yosenju. And full house is really good against Satellar, and it was against Cleese also. I just never drew the card. I think I drew overwork once, but it got like MST'd like in the mirror match before I could do anything with it. And then Soul Release, I wasn't playing this at the regional. I wish I was. This card is like you should auto win if you get it off against Necros, pretty much. Um, Soul Drain, I was playing it at the regional along with the 2 Shadow Mirror. Uh, I might bump it to 3 Shadow Mirror just because Shaddolls are now a deck again. NBA are going to be like running around a lot more. Rivalry is really good against Necros, and I don't think there's any other deck. Not off the top of my head. But yeah, Rivalry is really good. The 3 MST, obviously, because if I do go against the Klee matchup, I'm still going to side these for their scouts and the 1 skill drain that they could have. And then Royal Decree is probably the biggest threat at this point, other than for trap wise, because Denko Senko is obviously a threat. And then 2 shared rides. I originally had these mained at the regional, but I took them out last second for Max C's because of the Dragon deck for that one weekend. And Max C was okay. It didn't really do too much. I didn't play against any dragons. The shared ride though I really like against the Necros matchup. I think it's like infinitely better than Max C. Because it really stops them from doing everything. Because if they're special something, they're usually searching as well. But they can keep searching and not special summon. That's what I was getting at. Yeah. And obviously, it's not that good against BA. It's not good at all against BA. I like siding against the mirror sometimes, depending on how I'm feeling. Depends on what kind of build the mirror match is that I'm going against. But yeah, so that's the main and side. The quick regional report is round 1 I play against Necros. Game 3 the guy actually should have won in time, but he forgot he sided out Armageddon Knight. So when he went to Rota for it and attack for game, he didn't have anything. After he'd already used the Gunganir's effect to pop my monster. Or no, my back row instead of my monster. And then round 2 I played Bujins, kind of random. I 2-0'd that. Round 3 is when I played against Necros. And game 1, he did the normal Valk play. And then on my turn, I summon Karkar, he effect Veilers me. His second turn, he does something, I don't remember. It wasn't like too threatening, because on my second turn, I went to Karkar again, and he Veilered me again, and then I lost. So, like, too big of a minus. I was down to, like, 4 cards in hand to his, like, 8. It was really bad. So he beat me because of Effect Veiler, which is nothing new to me. And then round 4, I played against Ritual Beast. I 2-0'd him. Round 5, Yosenju's. Round 6, Yosenju's. Yeah. No. Forgetting something. I don't know. Okay, after the Ritual Beast, I played another Necros deck. And I beat him 2-1. So that was round 5. Then round 6 and 7, I played back-to-back mirror matches. And I won 2-1 in the first one and 2-0 in the second one. And then round 8, I played against Shaddolls. I was surprised that Shaddolls were X1 at that regional. But I 2-0'd them. It's like the deck's easiest matchup. You just keep bouncing their fusions, and they can't plus at all. Or maintain like a good like game state. And then round 9 is when I got 2-0'd by the Klee deck, who was maining like triple Storm, triple Fiendish Chain. He wasn't even playing, he was siding skill drains. And I was told he was also maining like triple Majesty's Fiend, but I'm not positive. He might have just been siding him, because he did summon it in game 2 when he OTK'd me. So yeah. So now the cards that I think you should not play in Yosenju's. This card is fucking god-awful in Yosenju's for siding and maining. I see so many builds maining it. I understand why the card is good. I understand it is good. Just not in Yosenju's. Because it doesn't advance you at all. All it does is hinder your opponent and slow them down a bit. Somewhat. Yes, you can gain information off of them. But for Yosenju's, I feel like it's technically like almost a -1. Because now you're down a card out of your hand, and I'd rather this be any other card that would get me another card. So I tried making it work. I had it sided right before the regional. I was like, I just can't do it, because I sided it at the ARG, and every time I sided it in, I hated it. It was like, oh yeah, you get 1 monster out of your hand. and then I'm drawing like my card for turn, hoping it's something, and I'd rather this even be like Upstart Goblin. Like, ah, so many better cards over this. I feel for yosenju. I understand that other decks like decided against yosenjus, obviously. Um, if you're not playing yosenjus, because there's other decks that can still just plus by doing other things by using like their graveyard. Yosenju's only way of plussing is by attacking, and like my deck using like card and reckless greed essentially, even though they don't technically plus, but can. So yeah, um, not a fan of it at all. Other cards. This card. People say to side it. Some people main it. I don't know why. I feel like if you're maining this, then you're playing the deck wrong, and you feel the deck is too slow. But this card alone is too slow. You can't search it. You have to draw into it, along with other multiple Yusenjus. So an ideal opening for this is this and three Yusenjus. So you can get another Yusenju. Congrats. Like, I don't know. It just makes no sense. And if you're siding it against the mirror match, it's pointless because comma one just bounces it, and then it has zero counters again on it. So bad card. Um, where we at? Macro. I don't like cards that don't do anything for me when I activate them, other than I mean, you could say the same thing for Vanity's Emptiness, but it actually is like it. No, you can't say the same because Emptiness will stop the card completely, like from resolving. Macro, like the Necros can still summon and everything. Um, so if I'm opening this with like a couple Yusenjus and like one other trap, and I flip this, um, it's not. I'm not saying it's a bad opening, but there's so many better cards you could have over this right now. I would say this over D-Fissure 100%. I don't have D-Fissure to like, example, but this is definitely obviously better than D-Fissure since it's BA. It could be worth making it into my side deck just because of the BA and should all match up. And obviously I would side it for the Necros just because, but it's not worth maining in my opinion. Um, yeah. Um, this card's bad right now. It's probably best against Shadal's probably, just because you can negate their fusions and you can like stop Denko and Dark Arm and BLS. Like they have the most things you could hit with a warning that's like most effective. Hitting a Necros ritual spell is completely pointless because they're just gonna banish search for another thing. Um, and like the only thing you could hit is in like game 2 and 3 a Denko that's like worth it I guess. Um, BA it's terrible unless you're hitting the tour guide, which is like alright, pointless. Um, Satellar's it's okay, but I mean if you get alpha, like if they obviously have another one on the field, they exceed or something, and you flip it and they alpha you, you're gonna lose the game. So and it's okay. It's good against Yusenju's for the turn, I guess. You can slow the deck down. I think that's it for the cards I don't want to play. Yeah. Okay. So the cards that I want to try and maybe fit in, um, Bottomless is okay, but it's not like it's not mass destruction is my problem. Um, like yeah, it'll get rid of like a big monster on the board, but I'm already playing so much like destruction. I feel like it's not really needed too much. It's obviously good against Shadalls and Satellars for the most part, other than Winda and Del Toros, right? Respond to him, I think. Um, but yeah, and no, it's bad against the mirror. Uh, yeah, so it's whatever. It's actually probably in more of the pile of I wouldn't play actually. But Compulse, I feel, is a lot more live now. The reason I didn't think it was good last is obviously because of Cleese being everywhere. Like, yeah, I'm gonna put back the monster that you can just like, summon again like real easily. Is pointless. You can hit Dante, which is really good right now. That's probably the main reason why it'd be good. Along with Shadalls being bigger again, so it's definitely worth a try. I think. Uh, Say that for last. What we got? Anti-spell fragrance. I've been back and forth with this card since I started playing the deck. I've had it in my side for both the ARG and the regional, and it's been good and it's been bad. It's never been like, oh, I want to draw this right now. It's either I want to open it or I don't want to see it at all, unless like I'm at such a huge advantage. I just want to completely lock my opponent out from top decking anything. And since Cleese are fairly dead, this was the main like good thing against Cleese because they couldn't play Yu-Gi-Oh if you flip this, since they couldn't activate any pendulums. Um, it's okay versus Necros. Like it slows them down for a turn, maybe 2 turns. Uh, but I even had I opened it against a Necros deck at regionals, and he was able to play around it. Granted, I didn't draw that well, and he had the effect veilers for me. Um, but obviously, it's still a really good card. I might fit it into my side, but I don't know if it's gonna be really worth it. I'd rather have cards that are again advancing me in the game state, and giving me more advantage than hurting like my opponent and slowing them down essentially. Mind Drain is really good right now. It hits Necros, so it stops Valken, Bryonic, and like all their other cards. Um, it stops like everything. And it hits obviously if they're maining like hand traps, it'll hit that. And Burning Abyss stop them from spamming the board with a bunch of Burning Abyss. Since they're down to just one tour guide, it's actually pretty good. So this is decent to think of. And then Swift Scarecrow, this I think is the first card I would try and fit in, just for the fact that because I'm playing Reckless Greeds and Card D's, it's almost like a sense of chain burn of you want to draw into your stall cards since you like trying to survive for a turn, so I don't get OTK'd. So like if I have like a Reckless Greed set and I'm about to get killed before they like enter the battle, I can Reckless Greed and hope to draw into a Scarecrow. Like it gives me that hope. Kind of the same as like back when people played Gores and were doing it. Um, but yeah, so I think that is it. I go to Chicago on the 9th, and I'll be there with a bunch of other Florida players I think are going. I'm not positive if Team Florida's going or not still. I'm pretty sure they are. And yeah, that's it, guys.